I told Amelia that I was resigning, and she gave me a scornful look. I responded with a calm quiet, and we talked about the company's cost-cutting initiatives, focusing on individuals who were supposedly abusing overtime pay. Tom seemed to enjoy the thought of cutting costs as well. My phone kept ringing with calls from the company. A week later, the president questioned sternly, "Who exactly are you?" after you had responded. I scoffed at the question without trying. Rather, I identified myself as Lily Johnson, a 59-year-old worker who has been devoted to her job for 37 years since she graduated from college. I talked confidently about how our business helps busy CEOs by offering administrative services, with a focus on tax-related concerns. Even with the help of a part-time employee, I was still responsible for 45 clients, and I couldn't afford to appear weak in any way. Our clients were established businesses, and their struggles strengthened my resolve. I was sitting in front of my computer, thinking about Tom and Amelia and their constant harassment. 3 months ago, Tom, who is 7 years my junior and currently heads the tax department, underwent a significant change in behavior following his promotion. His tone had shifted from being cordial to one of disdain and complaints, making communication difficult at best. He was unmoved even when I retaliated, telling me to refer to the manual for assistance and cautioning against taking needless measures. Amelia, Tom's assistant, also joined in the harassing, calling me out on my productivity and making fun of my rank-and-file position. Even though, as far as Tom and Amelia knew, I was the first to turn down a department head promotion, I was determined to finish my assigned tasks, but their harassing continued. Tom unexpectedly left a month's worth of customer paperwork on my desk that needed to be filed before the end of the month, which is what recently caused me to work extra. My face looked pale when I looked at the paperwork in front of me after work. "Wait, these all have deadlines this month, right?" I muttered, perplexed, but before I realized how serious things were, Tom had already started packing away his desk and showed little interest in talking to me about my worries. He said, "I'm heading out, take care with that," and walked quickly out of the office, leaving me in charge of a mountain of pressing work. Amelia did the same, laughing mockingly as she added hurt to injury. I opened the customer files that were strewn all over my desk, sighing hard as I considered how ridiculous the situation was. I was shocked to learn that Amelia was initially in charge of some of the files. My sigh became even more profound when I realized why Tom had been harassing me non-stop. They were pushing for my retirement swiftly. My extensive experience and deep knowledge in taxation made me a preferred resource for other members of the tax department over Tom. Tom's unapproachable demeanor and unattractive appearance made everyone, except Amelia, avoid him. It seemed Amelia's proximity to him was strategic, driven by Tom's preference for younger female employees. The shallowness of their thinking sent a chill down my spine. Amelia's harassment wasn't just a personal vendetta, she aimed to curry favor with Tom, the one evaluating the tax department's performance. Despite these challenges, I had to manage the declarations alongside preparing tax declarations for my assigned companies. It seemed today's workload was far from over. However, claiming overtime would only invite complaints from Tom and Amelia, leaving me resigned to the prospect of unpaid extra hours. Then unexpectedly, I received a summons to the president's office. Our company had recently undergone a change in leadership due to the former president's sudden illness. The new president, the former president's son, wasn't fully acquainted with our company. It was a stressful scene when I walked into the office and saw Tom and Amelia grinning unflatteringly. With a shocking statement, the president said, "Lily, we'll need you to resign by the end of this month." I was so confused that I requested for more information. It seems that Tom and Amelia accused me of invoicing too much for overtime, pointing out that I had worked more than 80 hours, whereas others had worked just 15 hours, unaware of the actual situation. The president appeared impressed by Tom and Amelia's zero overtime. I was struck by the situation's reality. Completing Tom and Amelia's task resulted in the inflated overtime, but to disclose Tom's instructions would be to expose my own poor time management skills. I laid forth the information, claiming that I had not overcharged for overtime but had instead had difficulty completing my task during regular business hours. With a long sigh, the president expressed doubt while admitting that there was insufficient information to investigate the case further. He was adamant that they couldn't keep someone working so slowly. The president offered my resignation, resigned to the circumstances, and it appeared he had already made up his mind. When I was told to quit the company I had spent 37 years working for, I started to feel tired. Even though I worked hard, Tom and Amelia didn't seem to appreciate the extra work. I acknowledged that I had previously informed the president of my decision to quit at the end of the month. I looked at Tom and Amelia and saw delight in their filthy smiles. Amelia played me a cruel joke as she left the president's office, sneering, "Thanks for quitting." I sent back a wordless gaze, meeting with the same contempt from Tom, who agreed that labor expenses should be reduced and called me out for taking advantage of overtime compensation. While I made documentation for each of my clients, I thought about the handover procedure while listening to their happy chatter. I made sure I had appropriate goodbyes and appointments with people I could see in person. I could not arrange a meeting with the president, so I had to write to let them know who would be my replacement. 1 week after I had resigned, I was at home taking a little break when my cell phone rang. I paused when I saw the company's call because I had previously finished the social insurance paperwork, but I reluctantly answered when calls from the corporation kept coming in on both Tom and Amelia's personal phones. "Who exactly are you?" the president said in a frantic voice as I answered. The only thing I could think of to mock her was just an unemployed lady who resigned from the company, nothing else. The president responded by hurriedly outlining the mayhem that has occurred since my departure, including 49 calls to halt business dealings. With a tone that betrayed panic, he begged for my quick return. I got up from my chair reluctantly and headed back to the company. When I got there, I saw Tom and Amelia waiting, their expressions noticeably irritated. With black rings around their tired eyes, their striking transformation caught me off guard. I asked her what was going on. "Since you left, we've been inundated with calls to stop transactions, not just from your clients but also from potential companies we were planning to introduce," Tom said, giving me a fierce look. "How did you act?" Amelia confirmed the suspicion and expressed disappointment that I would use deceitful methods. Their disheveled look conveyed the burden of managing cancellations. Even though I hadn't tricked the clients, I suspected there was a reason the transactions were stopping. I muttered to me, thinking about how cancellations were inevitable, but Tom accused me straight out, saying I had planned something. He physically escorted me to the president's office and ordered that I go there right away. When Tom and Amelia and I walked into the president's office, the president gave me a pointed look. With an air of authority, Tom said, "President, I brought her," and Amelia quickly followed suit, ignoring their tone of accusation. I was questioned by the president over the sudden stoppage of business following my departure. Taking a deep breath, I said, "Our clients don't require our assistance with tax management. There are tax accounting companies that provide services at a lower cost. If they kept us together, it was all my fault." Amelia teased me and Tom shot back, both challenging my usefulness to the firm and my own worth. Unfazed, I went into more detail about my special method and provided our clients with customized tax-saving ideas. Tom brushed it off as ineffective, saying our manual processes worked better. The president let out a long sigh when he realized how fundamentally different our methods were. He spoke in a serious manner, actually hinting at an important discovery or choice that was about to happen. Unexpectedly, my father, the previous president, called me. It turns out that Dad was the one who handled the negotiations on my behalf for certain clients who had halted transactions. I never thought clients would go to that far for me. Dad made it clear that my contributions were what made the tax department grow. I was not only an effective client manager, but I also helped my colleagues and had expertise that even Tom couldn't match. Dad said that I would have become a department head by now if I hadn't turned down the promotion. The president in office now conveyed sorrow while wearing agony. Amelia looked shocked, perhaps trying to process the possibility that I could have been her boss, the president expressed regret for forcing me to resign at first and requested if I would think about taking my resignation back. Dad said that I was the company's most valuable employee. Tom interrupted, clearly upset by the president's choice, but I was hesitant to respond, echoing Amelia's questioning of why I had been picked over him. He expressed amazement at my preference while praising Tom's leadership. The president then gave them a severe talk, telling them that the tax department had filed many complaints since my resignation, implying that work had been shifted to others. When the president revealed that Tom had a tendency to assign subordinates to prepare client declaration forms, including Amelia, who was responsible for several clients, his composure fell apart. The president brought up the irony, pointing out that Tom had accused me of stealing salaries. Taking note of Tom and Amelia's pale faces, the president went on to reveal a purported leak about their love affair. In an attempt to defend himself, Tom said he was only serving as Amelia's superior mentor, but the president pulled out accounting department records showing Tom's recorded dinner expenses. When presented with the proof, a perspiring Tom was unable to offer a plausible answer. When the president accused them of not doing their jobs, lying about expenses, and breaking corporate policy by having an affair in the office while married, Amelia, also as pale as a ghost, the president announced their job was terminated with immediate effect. In a cool, collected tone, Tom and Amelia made an effort to push back, begging to keep their jobs and vowing to recant the receipt allegations. "I have a family," Tom cried in a last-ditch effort to get his firing overturned. Echoing his thoughts, Amelia cautiously conveyed her worry of losing her job. She realized the seriousness of the problem, combining duty dereliction and an affair with a supervisor, so she offered to apologize to me and others for burdening them with work. She begged for another opportunity, fearing for her reputation. I gave them some counsel, sensing their despair. "Why do you not give up resisting? It's not honorable," I proposed. Tom sent me a look and said, "Stop talking. What could one individual such as yourself comprehend?" reminding him that it was you who got me fired. I sighed. "It's all karma. When they say, what goes around comes around. Would you please accept some responsibility and give it some thought?" Tom looked away, frustrated, and Amelia bit her lip in agony, knowing further information about their wrongdoing. I turned to the president and asked, grinning, if I should disclose it. Terrified of being discovered more, Tom and Amelia made a desperate attempt to stop me. I presented a decisive ultimatum, cautioning them that their misconduct would inevitably be exposed, urging them to confront the truth before the situation deteriorated further. Upon my words, both Tom and Amelia collapsed to their knees, and the president promptly made the decision to terminate their employment on the spot. Later, I disclosed further details about their transgressions, including Tom's fabrication of business trips to spend extended periods with Amelia, and their underhanded tactics of coercing disliked colleagues into resigning. Despite my efforts to support these employees, Tom and Amelia's actions were relentless. They frequently chastised and pressured their colleagues behind my back, often assigning sudden tasks with unreasonable deadlines. The resigning employees had initially asked for secrecy, but I felt obliged to share since they had since found satisfaction in new roles elsewhere. My revelations infuriated the president, who expressed his outrage at having to reduce Tom and Amelia's final salary. He made up his mind to look into cases of exaggerated expenditure claims in the past. Tom begged the president in tears not to cut his pay because he was worried about how it would affect his family. Tom's extramarital romance with Amelia was revealed as the truth came to light, which resulted in his divorce. Both filed claims for compensation in the ensuing case, highlighting the serious consequences of their acts. When Tom contacted me to ask for help in getting the president to rethink their firing, I realized how serious the issue was. Despite their best efforts, Amelia and Tom found themselves in a terrible situation when they were unable to find new jobs in the close NIT tax profession, their misbehavior quickly gained widespread attention, which alarmed prospective employers. They turned to manual labor at construction sites out of desperation to pay for their divorce and living expenses, which was a sharp contrast to their prior office jobs. Amelia would frequently phone me sobbing and begging for help. "Lily, I need your assistance," she would weep. "I never really loved Tom. All I wanted was a better life." I couldn't, however, deny that their situation was a direct result of what they had done. Their actions had negatively impacted many, myself included. I gently informed Amelia that her own decisions had led to the consequences. I firmly said, "You can't unring a bell," highlighting the fact that suffering will inevitably follow her choices. Her objections rang true with remorse and despair, but the result was the same regarding myself. I deliberately chose to keep my distance from the craziness that exists in the corporate world. The president begged me to come back, but I refused. I had no desire to return after being asked to resign. Rather, I took comfort in helping out at a friend's tax office, which allowed me to supplement my salary and live a more laid-back lifestyle. Anticipating the future, I considered setting up my own office. Being unencumbered by corporate bureaucracy, I could fully commit to serving the requirements of my clients here. In my role as a tax accountant, I wanted to be able to assist clients without feeling like I was better than them. This was the start of a brand new chapter in my life, full with opportunity and enthusiasm to pursue the things that really important to me. I was excited about the trip ahead of me as my second life was just getting started. That's all about the first story, and now let's watch another similar story. Even a new employee could handle such tasks if all they're doing is staring at a screen, said Chief Martin in a cold tone. "I see that you don't take responsibility for anything. Nothing more is required. I plan to suggest that you be fired." "What you're saying, I'm being fired even though I alone am managing the entire company's system operations," I shot back. Shocked by his revelation, Chief Martin did not waver, saying, "Yes, precisely. An adequate basis for termination is the use of remote work as a justification for carelessness. You and someone who steals a salary are exactly the same." His remarks left me dumbfounded, and I realized that was the exact moment something inside of me broke. "All right, I see," I said in a calm but determined tone. "I will resign." Chief Martin would face an unimaginably difficult future as a result of his choice. "I'm Sarah, a 30-year-old office worker who is unmarried. Although I may not look much different from other office workers at first, I am ultimately in charge of overseeing the organization's systems. The business could not function at all without me." A cartoon I saw as a child ignited my childhood passion with computers. In that animation, the exploits of a fearless hero and his devoted allies striving to preserve international peace revolved around a massive computer built in a covert base. I was enthralled with the computer's twinkling lights and yearned to possess a similar device, but I regretfully gave up that idea when I realized my tiny flat could never fit such a setup. Nevertheless, I followed my desire and opted to attend a trade school to study computer science after graduating from high school. Even though I was able to graduate, no major organization would hire me based just on my degree. I made a lot of efforts and visited a lot of companies before I was finally accepted by one that was somewhat well known in the fashion sector. My computer skills were acknowledged, and I was given the opportunity to manage their systems. At that time, specialists from different universities worked every day to maintain the systems in the system management department. But technology was advancing quickly, so having a huge crew was no longer necessary. The company started cutting system department staff as a result of the rapid advancement of technology, and eventually I was left to handle the job alone. The Department of Systems was dissolved. I was consequently moved and am currently employed at the General Affairs Department. Chief Martin took over as head of the section during this transition when the previous head of the department quit owing to personal matters. He was an early 50s man with a plethora of expertise who had previously overseen a section in the sales department. He felt that guiding labor toward achievement required unwavering determination and unceasing effort. He liked to say things like, "Back in my day," and young people these days, which reflected his own impression of youth. The General Affairs Department provided a more tranquil work environment than the sales department, so I didn't think there would be any major challenges for someone like him. My position stayed in system management, which is a specialty area. Needing in-depth computer knowledge that our section chief was not qualified to advise on, I felt reasonably confident in my work, but when I would learn later, that security proved to be a little bit optimistic. When I extended a friendly greeting one day, Chief Martin said in a hushed voice to think a job could be handled by a woman alone, as though he was doubting my skills. I was itching to argue back. Deep down, I told myself, it's wrong to underestimate me just because I'm a woman. In reaction to the urgency imposed by that well-known virus, our company had changed to allow employees to work remotely from home. However, a rotation system was implemented to make sure someone was always at the office to continue operations, because working outside the office for the General Affairs Department seemed a little awkward. My area of expertise was system management. Thus my work schedule was distinct from other employees, requiring me to be in the office every week at minimum. It so happened that the chief's day and mine coincided with my arrival at the workplace. He was speaking to me when I was carefully reviewing the system's functioning in front of a big computer monitor. This is the computer, I see. From behind me, I heard Chief Martin say, it's much more compact than I thought. I turned around and greeted him. Chief, good to see you. Good to see you too, but isn't it quite cold in this room? Isn't the air conditioning too strong? You're the only one here, right? He continued. Actually, the cooling system in this office isn't primarily for human comfort, but rather aimed at these high-performance machines. The computers contain components that generate a significant amount of heat when operating, and constant cooling is absolutely necessary to prevent them from overheating, he explained. I see, but if the machines were temporarily shut down, wouldn't that eliminate the need for air conditioning? I inquired. In theory, yes, but this facility operates 24/7, 365 days a year without rest, so unfortunately stopping isn't an option, he responded. You mean to say that even at night, when nobody is actually using the machines, they are kept running? That seems like a waste of energy, doesn't it? I asked, inwardly a little irritated. Those remarks kind of annoyed me on the inside. It was a necessary step to ensure the system continued to function, not a waste. The rising cost of electricity is a worry these days, so I was wondering if you might turn up the thermostat a little bit to assist save energy, I said. In reality, implementing such energy-saving measures is difficult, especially since the office's air conditioning system is old and needs to be run at full capacity to achieve sufficient cooling, he said. Comprehensive. I'll think about what I could do, I hesitantly replied. I had not anticipated that Chief Martin's traditional beliefs would have such an impact on us. In the midst of all, I started getting ready for the one-on-one interviews that Chief Martin would be supervising. He saw this as a crucial chance that was closely related to performance reviews, so he wished to have a personal conversation with every employee. A video conference technology was to be used for the interviews. I opted for a formal attire on the upper body suitable for the camera, paired with comfortable sweatpants concealed from view. After a light makeup touch-up, I reassured myself that this ensemble was appropriate when Chief Martin's face appeared on the screen at the appointed interview time. I greeted him with a courteous, "Good morning." His response, expressing relief at my proper attire, underscored the importance of professionalism in our interactions. He noted the significance of avoiding overly casual attire like sweatpants or pajamas, which he rightly linked to one's work ethic and performance evaluation. Upon hearing this, I swiftly devised a plan to ensure the lower half of my attire remained unseen on camera. Chief Martin then inquired about my remote work experience, hinting at a perception that I may not be fully engaged due to working from home. I assured him that my responsibilities could be effectively managed remotely, emphasizing my ability to oversee system operations, schedule processes, manage equipment, and promptly assist colleagues with support requests. However, Chief Martin expressed skepticism regarding the criticality of my role, suggesting that the tasks I handled could be adequately managed by any female employee. His remarks, though delivered with a slight smirk, struck a chord of irritation within me. Despite my efforts to maintain a respectful demeanor, his comments bordered on disrespect. It's an indisputable fact that gender holds no relevance in the realm of system management roles. Hold on a second, are you suggesting that my presence doesn't contribute value? I interjected. To which Chief Martin responded with a chuckle, well, from what I observe, that seems to be the implication. Asserting my confidence in delivering valuable work even while working remotely. I emphasize that producing tangible results is the essence of work. Chief Martin acknowledged the importance of clear, tangible outcomes, but he seemed to overlook the significance of my role in ensuring the smooth operation of the system. I countered his skepticism by highlighting the meticulous attention and effort required to maintain the system's functionality, likening it to the regular maintenance needed for cars. However, Chief Martin dismissed the comparison, suggesting a lack of understanding of the critical nature of system management. I stood up to explain the significance of my role, feeling compelled to do so with all of my might, only to lament that my casual clothes had damaged my credibility. I was suddenly very conscious of the fact that Chief Martin could see my lower half. Chief Martin tried to turn things around by suggesting that I turn my tasks into a manual as a way to track my progress. I accepted his challenge and promised to write an extensive handbook that would cover every facet of the business's system. But Chief Martin's later comments about streamlining processes for a possible transition suggested that his opinion of my role might have changed. I couldn't help but worry if he thought my presence was no longer necessary. I remained there for a moment, stunned by Chief Martin's apparent final decision, my mouth hanging wide in disbelief. It appeared that he took my astonished silence as consent. I felt resigned after he abruptly ended our talk and said, "Good then, it's settled." As the computer screen went dark that night, worn down by the day's activities, I took comfort in the solitude of my house and had a glass of wine with aged cheese, a recent discovery that I had come to love. It was a tiny, private meeting, characterized by thoughtful sighs. My 3 trusty feline friends came over, each jumping at my call with obedient eagerness. As if they could sense my attitude, pause it and overcome the raging waves, I said to the third, soar high and raw prose. To the first, even if their answers were flawless, I couldn't help but wish they could aid at times like this. When I brooded over the unknowns of the future, I took comfort in the understanding that, as the saying goes, life's journey is paved with ups and downs. Thinking to myself, a bend in the road is not the end of the road, unless you fail to make the turn. I forced myself to stay strong. I gulped down the last of my wine with determination, bracing myself for the crucial duty that the corporation had given me, choosing tablets for sales use even if they were designed for sales activity. I thought it wise to choose tablets that would allow me to easily access the company's internal systems, like expenditure settlement and attendance tracking. However, Chief Martin responded dismissively when I suggested this. "We don't require tablets with such great functionality. Personal preference-based proposals disregard the company's financial status. Cost-cutting should be your first priority," he said angrily. Chief Martin's painful answer made clear how important cost-cutting is to him. Acknowledging this, I consented to re-evaluate my proposal, stressing how crucial it was to follow his directions exactly. Chief Martin appeared to be more concerned with his own performance review than he was with increasing productivity. I decided to investigate my possibilities at an electronics store on my day off with this in mind, but when I evaluated the tablets on the market, I discovered that the more expensive devices were also the ones with better performance. I accepted that I would have to make concessions and realized that cost would inevitably take precedence over quality. On my way home, I went by a well-lit bar and saw a sweet exchange between a bartender and a customer saying goodbye. Their exchange made me feel instantly familiar, and as I looked more closely, I was shocked to see that the customer was none other than Chief Martin. I ran to a neighboring newspaper stand and bought a cup of coffee in a panic. Just in time to avoid Chief Martin's notice as he walked up, I took comfort in the warmth of the coffee while sitting on a park bench, thinking back on the chance encounter and telling myself not to pass judgment on other people's life too quickly. I savored the final sip of my coffee, taking a moment to unwind. The thought of Chief Martin brought a grin to my face, though thankfully our interactions at work were limited. When I delved into my usual tasks remotely one day, conducting an inventory check on computers marked for disposal, I stumbled upon an anomaly. A disparity in the count of laptops between last month and the present raised concern. While these outdated computers were slated for disposal, the discrepancy posed an issue, considering the associated processing costs, although the expenses had been budgeted for. A mismatch between stock numbers and costs demanded resolution. Amidst this dilemma, I decided to take a breather. Browsing an online auction site, among the listings, one laptop in particular grabbed my attention, a model reminiscent of those once utilized by the company. Despite its age, the product description boasted operational functionality, albeit with signs of wear. Its affordability and functionality made it an enticing prospect. The seller, identified only by the initials BM, piqued my curiosity. Could it possibly be Chief Martin? I couldn't help but wonder. Further investigation revealed multiple listings of similar used computers by the same seller, raising suspicions. To err on the side of caution, I added the item to my watch list. Meanwhile, tensions between Chief Martin and myself persisted, exacerbated by his increasingly rigid demeanor. His scrutiny of my work report only intensified, questioning my productivity and implying a dubious focus on internet searches and videos while working remotely. I let out a deep sigh before speaking softly, attempting to explain my perspective. As you know, conducting internet searches is integral to gathering crucial information for our work, and watching videos is often part of our research process. If you review the browsing logs, you'll see the pages visited and the relevance to our tasks. Work should yield tangible results, reflected in performance evaluations. The absence of such results implies negligence in duty, rendering one ineligible for evaluation. I continued, frustration simmering beneath my words. However, my role is pivotal in ensuring the seamless operation of the company's systems. Despite my explanations, it seems you fail to grasp the essence of my daily efforts and the depth of my work. While you accuse me of slacking off at home where oversight is limited, I am responsible for maintaining the stability of our systems and promptly addressing any issues that arise. The chief's skepticism only fueled my exasperation. Merely staring at a computer screen without tangible achievements, you seem to misunderstand the nature of my responsibilities. His words cut deep as he proposed my dismissal, equating remote work productivity with theft. Struggling to contain my disappointment, I conceded defeat. I understand. It seems futile to continue working together under these circumstances. As you wish, I'll initiate the resignation process myself. Please don't hold me accountable if you regret this decision in the future. The communication ended abruptly, leaving me to grapple with a mixture of anger and resignation. Despite feeling drained, I brewed a cup of coffee, seeking solace in its warmth. Amidst the turmoil, a notification for a video conference call from the director interrupted my thoughts, signaling a new chapter yet to unfold. Upon hearing the director's unexpected inquiry about my resignation, I couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. It appeared that even the director was grappling with how to navigate Chief Martin's rigid mindset. As a seasoned veteran of the company, the director acknowledged the critical role of our IT infrastructure and my contributions to its maintenance. With a sense of understanding, the director began to address the situation. When someone deeply rooted in the company's history, I recognize the significance of your work in system management. It's regrettable that Chief Martin fails to grasp the true value of your responsibilities, hastily attributing negligence to remote work arrangements. It's a challenging situation indeed. I nodded, acknowledging the weight of his words. It's no laughing matter, I admitted, facing constant accusations and questioning of my dedication has been draining. I fear I can no longer focus on my duties. Please, hear me out calmly. the director implored. I've been grappling with this issue as well, genuinely seeking a resolution, but I had already made up my mind. No, my decision is final, I asserted, but I'll hear your proposal. Just once, the director's suggestion piqued my curiosity, and I couldn't help but wonder if it could offer a glimmer of hope amidst the turmoil. Actually, I have something I'd like to share too, I admitted. We grew closer and more understanding of one another as we talked, and eventually we laughed together across the screen. Despite our age differences, we shared a friendship that was nourished by respect and encouragement for one another. Ultimately, I decided to come back to work on the last working day of the month, which happened to be Chief Martin's day off. When the eagerly anticipated day finally came, Chief Martin's happiness at my homecoming was evident as soon as I entered the office. Now that you're back, please make sure that your desk is organized, he said with a little pride in his tone. There's a saying, those who leave cleanly behind them. I acknowledged his remarks with a nod as the director arrived, marking the beginning of a new phase in our collaborative journey inside the organization. Good timing for both of you to be here. Good morning, Director, greeted Chief Martin, noting a playful wink from the director, suggesting a special mood. Chief Martin might have informed you, but Sarah is departing from our company. Her departure is indeed a loss, but her determination is undeniable, remarked the director. Yes, it's a significant loss, but we must respect her decision if she chooses to leave, agreed the other party. The director continued, while Sarah's resignation is regrettable, it prompts us to consider organizational adjustments. We see an opportunity for change. Is such a substantial change necessary solely due to Sarah's departure? Inquired Chief Martin. While it may seem so, this situation presents significant considerations, countered the director, proceeding with an important announcement based on the documents at hand. Beginning next month, we will establish a system department within the General Affairs Division. Plans are underway to recruit a new staff member to lead this department, revealed the director, surprised. Chief Martin said, well, we're introducing a new department head. Still, I don't see why we need a system department. Are the employees in that division actually productive? If that's your perspective, Chief, one might question your own productivity, the director questioned. Chief Martin looked back, perplexed, but the director gestured for him to continue with the current issue. This is your turn, Sarah, the director said. Director, I understand, Sarah answered. Chief Martin, regarding the recent disposal of computers, are you aware that several units are missing? Asked Sarah. No, I didn't know that. Processing fees are incurred when disposing of electronic equipment, and these were duly documented and billed for, Chief Martin recalled. However, the discrepancy lies in the number of devices scheduled for disposal, as submitted by me, and the actual number disposed of, Sarah pointed out. The director frowned slightly. So, what's the implication? The equipment paid for by the company has been disposed of in fewer numbers. Yes, that's correct. It indicates a system error. Such minor mistakes are not uncommon, the director admitted, taking offense. I designed that imperfect system. Chief Martin was left speechless, his face frozen in shock. Sarah, could you elaborate on the discrepancy? The director prompted. There is an unaccounted for amount of around $22,000 in the difference that was found. In addition, we unexpectedly found multiple computers of the same model posted on an online auction site. While conducting the inquiry into the missing computers, we verified the license number on the one we bought matched our asset record, Sarah added. The director asked, who is BM? Sarah went on. BM is a female college student who works at a particular pub on a part-time basis. She was transporting the laptops on behalf of a regular customer to specified addresses, the director continued. And who might this regular customer be? The person in question is identified as Brad Martin. I interrupted. The room was suddenly animated for a short while. It wasn't me, Chief Martin said. The original shipping address for that computer was not Chief Martin's, but belonged to a specific individual. I continued. The director questioned with knowledge. And who might that individual be? That individual is a female university student working part-time at a specific bar, I went on, as I said the name on the business card the woman had received. The tension increased. Brad Martin, also known as Brady. At the bar, I said. Chief Martin seemed completely disheartened at this point. The director asked Chief Martin, would you like to comment on this matter? No, I'm at a loss for words. This might be regarded as theft or embezzlement, among other crimes. I sincerely apologize, Chief Martin said. The director said, may I ask where the misappropriated money was used? It looks he was spending a significant amount of money on gifts for the university student working at the bar, I said, causing him to pause before disclosing the information. The room went quiet in shock. Chief Martin, there's no going back from here, the director asked. Are you aware of the significance of your actions? Yes, I regret it terribly. I sincerely apologize, Chief Martin said. While this case could theoretically be reported to the police, considering the company's reputation and credibility, I would rather deal with this internally and make up for any losses sustained. Would you mind being lenient? If not, you will be reduced to a regular duty and your chief status will be terminated. In addition, you won't receive a bonus for the next 6 months and your income will be decreased. Though this may seem like a little inconvenience, take into account my agreement with the director. Chief Martin's pay was cut for the next 6 months after this conversation, and he was relegated to a general position. I went to the director's office the following day as directed to pick up my new assignment. Sarah, you have been named head of the newly formed system department. At first, I was thinking of leaving by the end of the month, but the director's plan changed it to an official transfer. As a result, I moved from being a general staff member in the General Affairs Division to becoming the department's head. I'm excited to take on the task, even though I'm new to this role and it still feels a little strange. The director gave me the assurance, you are now in charge of the system department's direction. Don't worry, you will be in charge of the right staff. The former Chief Martin knocked and came in at that exact moment, almost like clockwork. When he spotted me, his astonishment and uncertainty were obvious. Sarah, why are you in this place? He cried out, with a soft smile. The director stepped in and said, that's no way to speak to your new superior. Yes, Sarah did resign yesterday. Today, she returned as the head of the newly established system department. From now on, you'll be working under her direction. The announcement caught me off guard, mirroring the former chief's surprise. What do you mean? His cry echoed in the director's office. Once again, the director calmly explained the situation. Sarah would hold the head position, and we would all work under her leadership. Are you serious? Chief Martin, my direct superior until last month, protested, outraged and determined. Yes, exactly. I vehemently object to this personnel arrangement, he continued, his frustration palpable. The director responded calmly but firmly, if that's how you feel, then I have another proposal. If you persist, you'll lose your standing in the company. Are you willing to make that choice? Faced with the ultimatum, the former chief's face flushed with anger as he declared, I have my pride. I cannot accept such disrespectful decisions. If forced, I choose to sever my ties with this company. The director, though disappointed, respected his decision. That's truly unfortunate. I had hoped you'd stay longer and contribute, he replied with a hint of regret. Understood. I will respect your wishes, the former chief affirmed before leaving the room decisively. When the door closed behind him, I silently observed his departure from the company premises. This incident led to his dismissal, likely also impacting his personal life and finances. Meanwhile, when the leader of the newly established system department, I focused diligently on my daily tasks, aware of the challenges ahead. While the nature of my work hasn't undergone any significant changes, the process of directly submitting necessary documents to the director has. Slightly enhanced operational efficiency. Currently, the director holds the role of head of the General Affairs Division. This week has been dedicated to catching up on system maintenance tasks, allowing me to gradually acclimate to my new role as department head. Seated in a somewhat luxurious chair, I meticulously monitored the progress of the maintenance work. In a moment of reflection, thoughts of my family back home briefly crossed my mind. Perhaps it's time for a visit after a prolonged absence. However, I quickly redirected my focus back to my responsibilities, reminding myself of the need to concentrate on work. Engrossed in detailed number checks on the display, I found solace in the familiar dialogue with computers. Despite the transition to a new position, my passion for this aspect of my work remains unchanged. Each small achievement brings genuine satisfaction, reinforcing my dedication to the tasks at hand. Above is today's story. If you like it, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. See you next time.